Hi everybody, welcome back to my house. Today we're outside of my house as opposed to the inside, even though it's the middle of January, even though we're sitting among snow because I need to plant these bulbs that have been sitting on my patio since November. Go in the shed here. Hi kitty kitty. And get a basket to grab all these things. I hope they'll all fit in here because my other basket is way back there. The very first thing I need to do, it's always hard to decide exactly how to spend my time when my kids are sleeping because there's so much to do. And I need to plant these bulbs. I also need to dig up some daffodils and move them around. It's like, how much time do I really have? I don't know. All right, let's get the bulbs. I have some tulips, some daffodils. The trouble with these bulbs, and this is entirely my fault, is that I left them sitting out here and some of them have gotten wet, which means that they've gone through the whole process. Oh no, I left these dahlias out here. Oh no. I dug them up and I was going to keep them inside for the winter. Oof, I mean, they've experienced some cold weather. I'm going to sit them inside just in case. Oh, what a bummer. I dug them up because I was going to try to save them. Okay. Anyway, I was just saying that I left some of these out here a little too long and they germinated and may have even started to go bad. But we'll do our best, and let me go ahead and spread them around exactly where I want to put them, and then we'll start digging. Bought a lot of these on sale at one of the box stores, and I've been needing to get them in the ground, and I knew I wouldn't have time during the Christmas season. And so because of that, I've left them sitting on my patio purposely because I wanted them to get that cold that they need to be able to bloom beautifully come spring. And so although I won't be able to get them in the ground until the next few days, they've been getting that vernalization that they need. And vernalization just means that they need a certain cold period in order to produce beautiful flowers come spring. Some of these are garlic, like actual eating garlic, and so they won't produce flowers. They shouldn't produce flowers, but I want them to produce big, beautiful bulbs for me come early summer when I harvest them. I have some hyacinths, I have some alliums, I have some daffodils and tulips. I also need to dig up some daffodils that are directly behind you because every year I see them and the clumps get bigger and bigger. And I keep thinking that I need to move them around, especially since I don't have a ton of daffodils in the spring. I have enough daffodils, but I want them everywhere. And those are clumps that can easily be divided. And I've been needing to get to them for a long time. And we have a little bit of a lull in the cold spell here. We've had some really nice cold weather where I live. We tend to have mild Januaries and even Februaries, but this winter has been nice. We've even been able to sled with the kids some, but now we're getting a little break. It's at 40 degrees today. It's going to be 40 degrees tomorrow, though it might rain. And then come the start of the week next week is going to go back to the teens and maybe even a single digit here and there. And the ground might even freeze. And so even though there's ice on the ground in some spots and snow, the ground is not frozen and the weather's nice. So I'm going to try to take advantage of it. And my kids are sleeping right now. So I'm going to try to take advantage of the time to see how much I can get done in that time frame, and hopefully I can get it all planted in preparation of a beautiful spring come April and May in that time frame. I'm standing in front of the vegetable garden because I have a few bulbs I want to plant on here, some purple tulips. I have some chives up here that are going to be blooming beautifully in the spring. I got them from a lady locally, and I have some petunias, not petunias, pansies that I'm going to be putting here as well. And so I thought the purple would look good. But the problem with the bulbs is that I waited to plant them too long. They would discount bulbs to begin with. And so they were already not at their prime, but then I waited even longer. So it was a bag of 30 and approximately 8 of them are bad. So I'm going to see if I can mix the purple with some pink. That way I still have that cool color that I want up here, but it has some beautiful tulips. I'm trying to decide if I want to put my garlic in front of the vegetable garden or if I want to pop it over here in this bed that I expanded recently just as a way of filling the bed, because come spring I could always pop all sorts of spring vegetables up here if we manage to get the garden, the yard really fenced in, which is our hope. Anyway, in any case, there's some ice here. There's some snow still right here. And so this specific section is still a little bit frozen over, but this right here is not. See how easily I can access the soil here. And so my garlic is just store-bought garlic. I never get around to ordering special garlic from the stores, and so you can tell this is just the store-bought garlic. So what I'm going to do is just spread it. Oopsie. And then see how many cloves I can get from this head, and then go from there. 3, 4, 5. We'll keep the biggest ones and plant the biggest ones. All right, if I can at least get the garlic planted, essentially the stuff directly around the vegetable garden, we'll call it a day. We'll call it a successful day. I just went ahead and planted my garlic. I planted the tulips in here. I'm going to try to finish with tulips inside of the vegetable garden. So I'm going to take this pack of salmon and Prussian tulips and I'm going to put it in one of the raised beds in the very back of the garden, because those raised beds do fantastically in the spring. So I have some ranunculus that I'm overwintering in there, and 2 of them, but there's a 3rd one that is, I'm going to pop these tulips in. These are the salmon and Prussian tulips. I bought them because I was going to put them inside of the vegetable garden because we have deer and I really want to protect these. All right, inside of the vegetable garden, I have these few beds up here. You're getting Brabra? Okay, let me help. Brabra. You want Brabra? All right, here's your Brabra, love. All right, so then we keep going. We have 3 beds back here. 2 of these I have ranunculus in since last spring. They bloomed beautifully in the spring, and now they are just overwintering in the ground. They came back in the fall and are overwintering. They're not looking great, but I'm sure as soon as March comes, they'll pick right back up. And as for the tulips, I have them right back here in this last bed, and I'm just gonna let them live in here as well. And what I'll likely do is I'll plant the tulips in here, and I'll probably also plant a bunch of kale in here and let those stay through the summer. That way I can keep harvesting over them. The dilemma with this bed back here is that as the summer progresses, it becomes more and more shaded. So it has a beautiful spring flush, but then it doesn't do very well with the summer crops. And so I'm starting to realize that when it comes to this bed, I really need to just plant it with a bunch of spring things. So let's get these bulbs planted. I don't know if you could tell, but the sun's starting to go down. It's maybe 4:30. I don't know the exact time, but it's about time for me to go inside and make supper. I did not get everything I set out to do today, which is fine. I knew it would take the entire weekend. I got the stuff planted in the garden, and now what I'm doing is planting some of these crocuses in the walkways. I just keep the bag in my hand. I take this shovel and I just dig in here, make a hole. Not even a hole, it's just an opening. And I grab one of the crocuses. I just drop it in the hole. I make sure it goes in the hole with my shovel. And then I kick the sod back down. I'm gonna keep going around the pathway here doing the same thing until I'm out of crocuses. There are some crocuses in here already. I don't know where. I'm not particular about how I do this. I do try to make sure that the bulb is facing the right way up, but if it's not, I don't worry about it. Hello, little birdie. I keep hearing little bits of racket here and there, and it's these sweet little birdies in the bird bath. Maybe when I get closer, if they let me video them, I'll take a little scene for you. I love the birds in the winter. So precious. Hello everyone. Today is day number 2 in this project. I got as much as I could get done yesterday and then called it a day. I stopped at the crocuses. They got put in the ground. But today my task is simple. Not easy, but simple. I'm about to get a workout. I need to go to the south end of my house here and dig up the daffodils that I need to spread throughout the yard. It might be a little bit of a challenge because I assume they've probably already started coming up, particularly because they're on the south end of the house. We'll have to see when we get there. I also need to grab this basket and plant everything in here because I left it out here in the open and it rained a little bit last night or this morning and they got rained on. So I really need to plant them. So let's get going. I only have a few hours to do this because we have to be at the house of some friends tonight. So I really need to get this done today because if I don't, tomorrow's weather is going to be really nasty as far as an interesting mix of precipitation. And then after that, we're going to be in the single digits and it's now or never. If I don't get this done today, I probably will just have to pot them and plant them that way. But I want them in the ground, so let's go. I planted these boxwoods here as fully matured boxwoods that I dug up from my friend's house in the fall. 2 of them are doing really well. The third one, I think, got dislodged by some deer. It's not doing so well, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Oh boy. Whew. This is going to be quite the challenge. However, I was right. They have started to sprout. So the nice thing is they should be fairly easy to move. But I need more than this. I need a wheelbarrow or something to put them in to make this a lot easier on myself. Oh, nice. That's so satisfying when you get an entire chunk of a plant out like that. Almost makes a popping sound. That's nice. All right, let's get this chunk out. See what we're working. Grab this chunk as heavy as it is. Jeez. Ooh. Pop it in the wheelbarrow. I'll likely divide it in the wheelbarrow and spread it around. I got 4 of the clumps here. I left 1 behind because I'm going to divide it into more clumps and just replant it over there slightly more forward than they were, because some of these were planted way too close to the shrubs. Now, given I planted these years ago and the shrubs years ago as teeny tiny little shrubs, and they've been getting bigger, and so have the clumps of daffodils. Anyway, I just need to move the daffodils forward. So all I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to take this knife. It's an old Cuisinart knife, one of those with the serrated blades. And I am just going to go through these clumps and make them smaller by just directly cutting them. Just gonna go in here It would be ideal if I had pulled these bulbs out individually sometime in the fall, but it still works. So this is a nice clump here, and I'm just going to place the clumps around the yard where I want to put them, and then I'll dig up holes and put them in there. So let's see. I'm going to put them towards the back of the bed only because daffodils have such ugly looking foliage after they're done blooming, and the foliage is good. We want to leave the foliage. I'm going to put it right here. We want to leave the foliage. Ah, look, there's some daffodils coming up right here. Some other daffodils. We want to leave the foliage of daffodils because we want them to replenish their strength so that they bloom again the following year. And so I'm going to put them towards the back of the border here so that they are hidden by other perennials come spring. All right, I'm going to keep working on this. I probably can get 2 more chunks. You can see some daffodils coming up right there. So this is a good spot to avoid. So I'm guessing where I have this is a good spot to plant it. Sometimes I don't know what's underneath the soil because you forget by the time spring comes around. You forget what was there the previous spring. I have most of my perennials up so that I can work around them, but I don't still have a lot of knowledge of where the bulbs from the year before are, especially individual bulbs. Last year I picked up some vanessaboyerandco daffodils with my mother-in-law from a property of a older couple that they used to help care for, and I popped them in here. I've never seen them bloom, so I don't remember exactly where they are in here, but that's part of the fun of gardening. It's always a little bit of surprise. All right, I want to dig this hole deep enough that when I plant this chunk of daffodils, it will be at the same depth that it was buried before. All right, that's about right. I want the tips poking out just as far as they were poking out before. I don't want them any. Some of them I'm even putting a little farther down because they can handle it. Just separating the clumps and popping them farther down. All right, there we go. They'll find their way. Not worried about them. They'll find their way when it comes to bloom time. I just went ahead and planted these 15 high. I'm out of breath. I just went ahead and planted these 15 hyacinth bulbs right here. Last year I had that's here, and I'm planning on starting some more inside very soon to pop here at the next warm stretch that we have. Last year it was nice because they had seeded themselves. I mean, it was such a thick blanket of them. It was so beautiful. But this year I noticed that they reseeded themselves, but in the fall, because we had such a mild fall. We had flowers here at Thanksgiving. So it was a very mild fall, and they had reseeded themselves in the fall and looked very good and very nice. But then I think all those seeds that had fallen from this spring germinated, and they will not be germinating this early spring. Um, Makes me a little bit sad, but that's okay. I will be starting seeds indoors soon, and forget-me-nots will be amongst the first because I just loved that blanket here. But anyway, I'm going to be planting them amongst the hyacinths and whatever other bulbs I put in here because I just really like that look a lot. So I still have the alliums to plant. I'm trying to decide where I want to plant them. I think I want to plant them in the circle flower bed. I was going to put them up front because the deer don't like them. And I still haven't for sure decided that I won't put them up front. But I think I like alliums amongst other perennials. I like to see them come up high amongst other perennials, and up front is my boxwoods are not big enough yet to give that look that I'm looking for. And so I'm going to put them in here amongst the other perennials. Anyway, I stopped talking to you guys and get back at it because my baby girl's awake and I'm cutting it close on what I need to get to my friend's house. So let's go. Ah! There is something. It's a daffodil. Ah! I'm in the wrong spot. I'm digging something up that I don't want to be digging up. I have dahlias in here. I have gladiolis in here. I have irises and hyacinths and other summer bulbs that I can't even remember are in here. And so it's hard to know where to plant stuff. It's very hard. All right, you guys, it is 4:30, 3 hours after I started, and I'm officially done. I'm done. I'm gonna wash these gloves, wash my trowel, wash my boots, wash everything, and go inside and get ready and get part of my supper made for the potluck dinner that we're having with some friends. Thank you for hanging out. I didn't show you the whole thing. I planted some bulbs in our circle flower bed up front. I planted some bulbs right around this patio here. But towards the end, I just needed to get the task done more than I needed to record for you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I can't wait to show you the end result, I guess, come spring, whenever they do start to bloom. A lot of these bulbs, because I planted them later in the season, mid-January, will probably bloom a little bit later than they will be blooming in coming years at their natural time, but that's okay. They'll bloom, and I'm excited about that. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time. Bye.